We got some very, very sad word. I want to say that this is going to be the last Q&A from the creator of Black Clover, Yuki Tabata, in the volumes. This is out of, I want to say, volume 31 of Black Clover. He did a Q&A. He answered a question and whatnot. And I ain't gonna lie, it had me a little bit like, wow. Because we know at the end of the day that a lot of these authors from Shonen Jump, just in general mangaka as a whole that work on a routine schedule, they go through a lot. But Yuki Tabata just sounds like he's always going through a lot, and being a mangaka probably hasn't helped at all in terms of yeah, we'll read and you guys will understand, but this was just a little tough to read to begin with. Afterward, the answer to the question if Tabata ever cries is yes, and breaking into a flood of tears, a grown man. Naturally, my daughter has no bad intentions and she's chittering and is playful, but I really am crying for real. I was crying so hard that my wife, just rushing in after taking a bath, was shocked. I'd like to blame it on the stress due to being overwhelmed by the deadlines for a weekly serialization, but I used to cry a lot even when I was not working on a weekly series. Now I love Tokyo, but having moved here, I would be so homesick that I used to cry in the shower every night for a few months. Not just crying, but weeping. After meeting my wife, I cried every time I failed at some milestone. I shouldn't trouble her or let her down. Crying despite having my own child. Need to stop. If you're reading this and you're a crybaby, don't worry. I'm still crying as an adult, and no matter how miserably I cry, there's always a very strong person looking after me. Huge thanks to my wife. That is, wow. Like, I ain't gonna lie, reading that is, it's sad, man. It's sad. Like, obviously he said like before serializations, like he was kind of like a crybaby, which is crazy because his series Asta is not a crybaby. You know, the main character of his series Black Clover, Asta, he is far from a crybaby. So a lot of times, you know, you take it that an author is writing themselves into the work, or there's some qualities there. If anything, he would have been like, you know, early Deku or something like that, or somebody like Takamichi from Tokyo Revengers. But his character, his main character, is nothing like that. He's not a crybaby, and I hope the best for him, man. I'm sure that, you know, doing this weekly serialization isn't helping any with, you know, being emotional. Like, he's an emotional dude, nothing wrong with that, and having all this stress on top of him is probably not helpful. And shout out to having a strong woman by his side. I think that's one of the things that keeps Tabata going, his family itself. I love just hearing, man, Tabata's a really wholesome dude. Like, you always hear, every time he gets a chance, he'll talk about his wife, he'll talk about his daughter, and the fact that he took a whole post to just say how strong his wife is and how it helps him through things, that is really awesome. Shout outs to Tabata, his beautiful family. Again, happy New Year to him and his family. But reading this was a little tough, man. That you know, like, I feel like to a certain degree that the serialization does have an impact more so than he realizes, because like, that's not the most normal, to be honest with you, to just be randomly crying because you couldn't help your wife the way you needed to and stuff like that. Like, and I'm not saying he's abnormal or there's something wrong with him. I'm saying that he probably needs a long break, and thankfully we're at the season right now where I believe they get another break, you know, Golden Week and all that jazz. So that's good for, you know, the authors and stuff like that, and somebody like Tabata, because just reading this again, first of all, there's nothing wrong with crying, get your emotions out and stuff like that, but it sounds like he definitely has a lot of stress, regardless if he was crying before the serialization, because yeah, my heart goes out to Tabata, his family. Like, it's wild to even hear an author talk about stuff like that. Authors normally, like, they don't go that deep into like, yo, I was crying into a puddle in the floor. Like, yeah,